Trayvon Martin was shot and killed by George Zimmerman on February 26, 2012. Trayvon Martin was 17 years old, and George Zimmerman is 28 years old. Notice what I said there. Trayvon Martin was, and George Zimmerman is. Unfortunately, Trayvon Martin isn't anymore. I'm sure many of you are familiar with this case, as it has flooded the news the past few months. A lot of news outlets are looking at the race side of things. What I want to do tonight is look at the fact that George Zimmerman had a loaded gun on him and used it to kill another human being. Could his death have been avoided? I don't know. Could the deaths of 31,347 people in 2009 have been avoided? Loose gun control laws are allowing people to purchase firearms, carry them under concealment, and use them to kill people. Guns are simply not the answer. According to the NRA, there are over 300 million privately owned firearms in the country, 100 million of those being handguns. A 2005 Gallup poll showed that 67% of gun owners had it for protection against crime, 66% had it for target shooting, and 58% had it for hunting. You'll notice that nobody said they had it for killing someone else, or for exacting revenge on their enemies. I'm sure you're all familiar with the phrase, guns don't kill people, people kill people. That's true. But people kill people with guns. Of the 16,272 homicides reported by the FBI in 2009, 67% used a firearm, far greater than any other form of a weapon. Would those 10,886 people have lived if there were stricter gun control laws? Again, hard to say, but it's also hard to argue that there wouldn't be a few more people still alive today. There are laws such as concealed carry and the now infamous stand your ground law, which differ from state to state and offer some confusion as to what's allowed and what's not. How do we reduce the number of homicides and deaths due to firearms? Is the answer simply taking guns away and making them completely illegal? Probably not, and create something like an underground market like we see in illegal drugs today. More undesirable people would be coming into contact with firearms than we have right now. Should there be tighter restrictions on who should be able to purchase one and how they carry it around? Yes. If there is any reason at all that a person should not be allowed to have a gun, then that person should not have it. The more restrictions we put into place, the better. The Department of Homeland Security, I found this very shocking, reported that from February 2004 to February 2010, 91% of firearm transactions were allowed to people appearing on the terrorist watch list. 91%. Seems a little high, doesn't it? Shouldn't we be keeping guns away from suspected terrorists? Currently, 15 states restore the firearm rights of convicts upon their release from prison. So people in those states, as soon as they get out, could walk across the street to a gun shop and pick up their latest firearm. States, like I said before, differ on requirements to obtain a firearm, how it can be carried, and how it can be used. Sweeping federal reform that increases the restrictions on who can obtain a firearm and limits the ability to conceal a weapon is essential. Would something like this work? Are there examples of this working elsewhere? It would work, and it has worked. Australia has very strict firearm laws, so much so that only 5.2% of the population own a handgun. Their firearm homicide rate per 100,000 people is 0.31, whereas the U.S. is 2.97. Spain only allows handguns to be purchased by police and military, or members of the Spanish Federation of Olympic Shooting, which there are many requirements and tests to become a member. Spain's firearm homicide rate is 0.25. And finally, England, which does not permit citizens to even own a handgun, has a firearm homicide rate of 0.12. So there is precedent, and it can work. Some of you may say, well, those countries aren't the same as us. In the United States, we're not anymore. It's fair. So are you saying that there are more crazy people in the United States? There's more to be afraid of in the United States. Well, then why would we go about giving those people that we're afraid of an easier way to obtain a gun? I encourage you to support stricter gun control laws And maybe then Trayvon Martin could have still been alive. Thank you.